There is a very specific type of exhaustion that only Christian man understands, and it's the feeling of driving home from church on a Sunday morning, generally loving God and promising Him with everything in your soul that this time is different, only to find yourself late Tuesday night sitting in the dark, staring at a screen on autopilot and breaking the exact promise you made 48 hours ago. And of course, you don't like faith and you don't like willpower. If trying hard and praying away the shame actually worked, you would have been free 5 years ago. And the brutal truth is your pastor isn't telling you is that you cannot spiritually cure a psychological loop you are still actively feeding in your identity. Your ego is literally using the grace of God as a safety net to justify this cycle. And in this video, I'm going to unmask the exact three Bible verses that completely rewired the subconscious minds of my Christian clients and shattered their automated late night urges and finally broke the loop for good. So let's look at the mechanical science behind the scripture. So the first verse is Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So here's the deep dive breakdown is that when you are trapped in an addiction loop, your ego uses shame and fear to keep you weak. And every time you relapse, you wake up in the morning feeling disconnected from God, terrified that you run out of grace. And that fear triggers a stress response in your brain, causing a cortisol spike that your subconsciously mind can only handle so much stress before it demands an escape route which drives you straight back to the screen because it's a coping mechanism. You're gonna use pornography as a coping mechanism since you're gonna feel this shame, this guilt. And notice the scripture says God gave you a sound mind, and in the original Greek, sound mind translate to sophronismos, which literally means a mind that is self-controlled, disciplined, and correctly ordered. And freedom does not start when you suddenly stop having the urges. And remember that there is no such a thing as the urges. The urges does not exist. Freedom starts when you realize that your brain is literally perfectly engineered by God to override an autopilot behavior. And of course, you are no broken or powerless addict fighting an impossible war. You are a man operating with the misaligned system. The reason why you're gonna come back to this addiction in the first place is because you don't have a proven system. And system stands for saving yourself time, energy, and money. And the actionable step that you need to take right now, by just literally after finishing this video, is called the sound mind reset. It's the moment an urge hit late at night. Do not start praying with a posture of fear. God, please take this away. I'm scared I'm going to relapse. Don't think this way. That just reinforces your subconscious mind on the pornography and go on and relapse, and of course. So instead, step completely out of the room, stand up straight, and state out loud, God did not give me a spirit of fear, because fear will let you vibrate on a very, very low frequency. He gave me a sound mind. This urge is just an old automated neural pathways, and I command my mind to align with order right now. Then immediately pivot your physical body to a high effort task, like 50 push-ups or opening your business dashboard. As you can see, this is what it looks like. For God gave us not a spirit of fearfulness, but of power and love and discipline. And this is how you should be, as you can see in this picture. You shouldn't be fearing anything, because the urges is something that does not exist. Let's go to the second verse, which is James 1:14-15. But each one is tempted when he is drawn away by his own desires and enticed. Then when desire has conceived, it gives birth to a sin, and a sin, when it's full grown, brings forth death. So the deep dive breakdown is that this verse is the exact mechanical breakdown of how the subconscious urges loop execute in your brain. And notice the structural sequence James lays out. As you can see, the drown away, which is the trigger cue, the intense, the subconscious dopamine spike, and the conceived, the choice, the autopilot state, and of course, last one, the birth to sin, the physical relapse. It says sin brings forth death. And this doesn't just mean physical death, it means the death of your potential, the death of your drive, the death of your confidence, and the death of your spiritual authority as a man. And the mistake most Christian men make is that they try to fight this sin at step 4, when the physical relapse is already happening. By then, your brain chemistry has completely hijacked your logic, and you have to kill the loop at step 1 and step 2 before the desire is conceived in your subconscious mind identity. Instead of going directly to the step 4, you should go first from step 1 and the second step and the third one, and you keep going. And the actual step that you can take right now is called the micro trigger mapping. You need to audit your sequence. My client had to trace their relapse backwards to see exactly where they were drawn away. And did the relapse happen at 11:30 p.m.? When the trigger didn't start at 11:30, it started at 8 p.m. And when you choose to scroll mindlessly on social media and allow your eyes to look at a soft core image, it's also called the soft pornography, all you have to do is write down the 3 exact environmental steps that lead you to go on relapse in the first place, such as your phone in bed, isolation, it can be late at night, boredom, and so on. There is plenty amount of things, of small little factors that will push you to go on relapse in the first place. And so block those physical variables entirely. And you do not need to fight the urges, you remove the environment that breeds in. Because think about it, if there is a killer who is ready to kill you, literally, you have his knife, as you can see, I'm gonna put a knife here, and you know that if you go into this area, you have to meet this killer. And you know that you cannot physically fight this guy because he have a big knife and you have nothing. And you cannot even punch with your own bare hands. So, would you go exactly to the same area when the killer is literally crazy and ready to kill you? Or would you go to another place by trying to not meet this guy, by going to another road or another places to be safe 100%? Well, here it's exactly the same thing as you can see. Instead of letting yourself go, try to understand that there is small little factors that can be environmental, as I'm talking here, that will push you to go and relapse in the first place. And the second verse, which is number 3, Galatians 6:7. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked, for whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. So the deep dive breakdown, as you can see, is that your ego loves to manipulate the grace of God. And it tells you, just look at the screen one more time. It's okay, everything will be fine. God will forgive you tomorrow either way. Yes, God's grace is infinite, but His spiritual forgiveness does not erase physical consequences. You cannot mock the natural laws of a brain design that God built into the universe. If you sow seeds of cheap dopamine, pixelized lust, and late night isolation into your subconscious mind for 2 hours a day, you cannot expect to reap a harvest of focus, confidence, and financial wealth as well, and powerful marriage. Every single time you choose the screen, you are actively voting for a weaker version of yourself. And you are training your brain to become a hypersensitive to lust and completely numb the real achievements. You are reaping exactly what you put into the soil of your mind. You are what you think about. You are what you consume. If you consume lustful videos of females, let's say on TikTok or Facebook or whatever, then you will be a version of yourself who is lustful. But instead, if you seek knowledge and wisdom, just like what God tells us, well, you will become a wise person who is thinking mostly with his brain and using his brain into something that will benefit him on the long term, which will make him seek even more knowledge. And now, look at me closely. God did not create you to be a passive observer of life, hiding behind the screen, outsourcing your masculine energy into pixels, while your real word, calling roots. He called you to be a leader, a provider, a warrior of a sound mind. But right now, you are letting an automated subconscious loop mocks your destiny. And if you are done white knuckling this fight alone, and you are ready to stop bringing a broken, shame filled identity before the Lord every single week, it is time to step into a real covenant brotherhood and true structural deliverance. My elite recovery program isn't about giving you more basic motivation speeches, it's the systematic, God honoring blueprint designed to align your subconscious mind with scripture, break the mechanical root causes of your urges, and restore your absolute masculine authority. Just like as you can see on the screen right now, I've helped all of those people overcome porn addiction. And do not let your ego delay your obedience. Click the link in the description below, apply for our private program, and let's reclaim the dominance of God unlikely built inside of you. I will see you inside. And remember that life is all about lessons. Learn as much as you can. Thank you for watching this video. Mwah.